thank you to Family Law Section for their generous support of this general session. Without all of your support, that just simply couldn't be done. So thank you to all of our sponsors and particularly to the Family Law Section. This general session is our opportunity to also congratulate those lawyers who have practiced for 50 years. To thank Laura Gibson for her service to the bar as president and all of the other many roles that she has served, but especially for the one as president of the State Bar this year. And to welcome Cindy Tisdale as our new president of the State Bar of Texas. There's a long program that's planned to continue through lunch, but before we proceed, I would like to call on Anna Tisdale, who will lead us in the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, we come before you today with hearts filled with gratitude and joy as we gather to celebrate and honor this momentous occasion of my mother, Cindy Tisdale, being sworn in as president of the State Bar of Texas. Every good and perfect gift comes from you, and we are humbled by the trust and responsibility placed on her. We thank you for the wisdom, strength, and integrity that you have bestowed upon her throughout her journey in the legal profession. You have guided her steps, granted her understanding, and equipped her with the necessary skills to serve with excellence. Today, we lift our voices in praise and thanksgiving for your divine favor upon her life. As she steps into this new role, I ask for your continued guidance and discernment. Grant her the wisdom to lead with fairness, compassion, and justice. May her decisions be guided by your truth, and may she be a beacon of light in the pursuit of justice for all those she serves. Father, we also lift up the State Bar of Texas and its members. May this organization continue to be a catalyst for the positive change within the legal profession. Bless all those who are part of this esteemed community, from the lawyers and judges to the support staff and volunteers. Grant them unity, cooperation, and a commitment to upholding the principles of justice. We offer our prayers of gratitude for the gift of my mom and the tremendous honor bestowed upon her today. May her presidency be marked by transformative leadership, unity, and tireless pursuit of justice for all. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Anna. Now, would the Texas Department of Public Safety Honor Guard please come forward for the color guard presentation?
Left turn. Honor guard, all officers, present order.
Now I'll call on Andrew Tisdale, who will approach the stage and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and the Texas flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And now I'll ask Greg Scarborough to please come to the stage. He'll sing for us the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
That touches me every time. I don't know about you all. I'll ask to the stage now President Laura Gibson to present several awards for hard work for many lawyers across the state of Texas. Laura?
First, it's my honor to present the President's Award. The President's Award is given to a state bar member determined by the President to have rendered outstanding service. This year, the President's Award is presented to Kim J. Askew. Kim Askew is a partner at DLA Piper in Dallas. She represents clients in significant employment matters as well as litigation involving business torts, trade secrets, non-compete, non-solicitations, and employment agreements. She has successfully tried cases to jury and non-jury verdicts in state and federal courts across the United States and has handled appeals before federal and Texas appellate courts. Kim uses her considerable legal and leadership skills throughout her community. She currently chairs the Audit Committee of the University of Texas Southern Medical Center in Dallas. She was recently named one of the first women to serve on the Board of Trustees of the Scottish Rite Hospital for Children. She's also a member of the Executive Committee of the Board of Trustees of the American Inns of Court. Additionally, she continues years of service to Texas lawyers through her position as the Texas delegate to the House of Delegates at the American Bar Association. She has received numerous awards throughout her career as a result of her legal practice and her efforts to advance diversity and inclusion, including the inaugural Dallas Bar Association Distinguished Service Award, which they named after her, and recognizes a Dallas Bar Association member who is dedicated to good work and positive relations with lawyers, the judiciary, and the community, and the ABA's Spirit of Excellence Award, which recognizes contributions to diversity in the legal profession. It is my privilege to honor Kim Askew for her extraordinary career and her exemplary commitment to our profession. Next, the Certificate of Merit will be presented. The Certificate of Merit is presented to a Texas lawyer determined by the President to have made a great contribution to the legal profession and the State Bar of Texas. This year, the Certificate of Merit is awarded to Louis Kennard. Louis is Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Assistant Corporate Secretary for the American Heart Association in Dallas. He has over 30 years of legal practice in the range of substantive areas. At the American Heart Association, he's focused on international commercial agreements, groundbreaking collaborative research programs, and growing the association's legal department to keep pace with its evolving global legal needs. Lewis's dedication to the State Bar of Texas is extraordinary. Lewis served as the last chair of the State Bar's Committee on Disciplinary Rules and Professional Responsibility and served on that committee for 7 years. In 2018, Lewis became the first chair of the Committee on Disciplinary Rules and Referenda, as we refer to the CDRR, and he continues to hold that position today. The legislature created the CDRR in 2017 to regularly review the Texas disciplinary rules and procedures, report on the adequacy of those rules, and oversee the initial process for proposed rule changes. In his role as chair, Lewis has spent countless hours working to improve the legal profession for the benefit of all Texans. The overwhelming success of the State Bar's 2021 rules vote was a direct result of the hard work and dedication of Lewis and the other members of the committee. It is my privilege to honor Lewis Kennard for his extraordinary career and his exemplary commitment to our profession. Congratulations, Lewis. At this time, it's my privilege to ask immediate past chair Chad Baruch to the stage so that he can recognize our 50-year lawyers. And you should know that this class of 50-year lawyers is a dynamic group. They are the largest class of 50-year lawyers we've had in the history of the State Bar of Texas, and they have 7 wonderful women in their class, and we are so delighted to honor them. Chad?
Thank you very much, President Gibson. These are lawyers licensed in 1973. We're honored today to have so many of you with us. In your own way, each and every one of you played a role in building and strengthening this profession we are so proud to call our own. Congratulations on this milestone accomplishment. I would ask that each of you stand as I call your name. And for the rest of us, I would ask that there are a great many names, so let's hold our applause until I have completed the list. Judge Stephen Abels, Judge Richard Abrams, Thomas Akins, Anita Ashton, Judge Thomas Backus, Jimmy Bailey, Michael Baskerville, Ronald Benson, Elaine Bowes, Gilbert Bragg, Art Brender, David Brown, Michael Brown, R. Grady Brown, Karen Johnson Butler, Andrea Buzzard, David Kane, Mila Cameron, Judge Richard Carter, Bob Cavender, Fred Cephalo, S.C. Childress, Nelson Clare, William Cornett, Alan Cumby, Joe Davidson, Ferris Duhan, Osborne Dykes III, Maxwell Evans, Milton Fagan, Thomas Featherston Jr., Donald Fleming, Robert Frisch, Jose Gamez, John Getty, Thomas George, Peter Gilman, Diego Giordano, Martin Grimm, Bill Hankinson, Reginald Hirsch, Harley Huff, Greg Huffman, Charles Hurd, Shelby Jordan, Jeffrey Kilgore, David Lamone, Howard Lang Jr., William Lemons III, George Lewis Jr., Edward Long Jr., Kenneth Long Jr., Robert McIntyre Jr., Frank Marcantonis, Sean Martinez, Robert McSorley, Jerry Metcalf, Robert Moran, Judge Veronica Morgan Price, Judge John Morris, William Neal, John O'Brien, Peter Parenti, Judge Jan Patterson, Judge Bob Perkins, Judge Ted Coe, Judge Barbara Key Powell, Judge Jorge Rangel, Robert Ray, Frumencio Reyes Jr., Richard Rogers III, William Rohrbach Jr., Frank Russell, Joe James Sawyer, Randy Schaffer, Michael Schmidt, Judge Richard Schmidt, Lee Schwamer, Gerald Sigmeyer, Mac Smith, Judge Don Smith, Alan Stafford, Walter Sutton Jr., Carl Teague, Timothy Telge, John Terrell, Bob Thompson, Kenneth Valka, Gustav Van Steenberg, Larry Vick, Jack Wall, Claude E. Welch, Martin Wycliffe Jr., John Weed, Charlie Williams, Judge Don Wendell, Judge Mike Wood, Judge Sherilyn Wood, Patricia Hare Woods, Donald Wright, Theodore Wu Jr. Before we thank this year's 50-year lawyer class for its service, did I miss anyone? If I did, will you please stand and be recognized? And if I mispronounced anyone's name, my apologies. It's my fault. I assure you the State Bar staff told it to me correctly and I messed it up. So I apologize for that if I did. Please join me in congratulating this extraordinary group of lawyers. Thank you.
That's actually harder than it looks to do. And if you notice that Chad did an exceedingly good job of that, that's because he was a principal of a high school for many years and got to do it at graduation, so he's had some practice. Good job, Chad. So, gosh, it seems like just a year ago I was standing here. I am so happy to have had the opportunity to serve as your State Bar president, the 142nd president and the 8th woman president, and it's been my incredible honor to serve our bar and my profession. As president, I have sought to support Texas lawyers and the legal profession with 3 initiatives. The first is expanding awareness of the attorney discipline system. The second was stressing the importance of lawyer well-being, and the third was alerting our members to the pressing need for succession planning. With this class of 50-year lawyers being the largest we've had in the history of the bar, that better demonstrates what I've been showing on bar graphs throughout the state in my presentations. Our population is aging, and with that, many of them are leaving the profession. And when they prepare to leave the profession, they need to do so by having a successor. I'm proud to report that we've made great strides in all 3 of our areas of focus. In response to the graying of the profession, my first presidential initiative was to create succession planning and the needs for attorneys to designate a custodian attorney. In January, I worked with Greg Sampson, senior counsel at Gray Reed in Dallas and a former State Bar director and the incoming chair of the Law Practice Management Committee, for a Texas Bar CLE webcast on succession planning essentials titled Don't Wait, Designate. I'm proud to say that the webcast has been viewed by nearly 10,000 attorneys to date. It's free. If you need CLE, if you've got a birthday in June, I commend it to you. Also, on June 21, Wednesday, the State Bar of Texas recognized Designate Your Custodian Day. It's only fitting to use the longest day of the year to ask lawyers to take the time that day to designate the custodian. The idea was suggested by John Meredith, Vice Chair of the State Bar's Law Practice Management Committee, and the concept was to use social media and other publicity to increase the usage of the designation portal. We lawyers are great procrastinators, so we thought, if you can't find time on the longest day of the year to designate your custodian, there is no hope for you. I've also recorded a video on succession planning, and that also went live on Wednesday. There's a video I did, one that Greg Sampson did, and one that Steve Bolton, the outgoing chair of the Law Practice Management Committee, did, and an entire toolkit that I commend to your attention. The video will be parts of a series that discuss the initiative, and they'll be showcased on social media with a local bar-focused campaign to get the word out to all of our members. If you are a solo practitioner, it's imperative that you designate a custodian who can return your client's files to them or to another lawyer of their choosing. It really takes about the same amount of time as it does to get your boarding pass on Southwest Airlines, so you don't have an excuse. You don't want your legacy to be having left that responsibility to your family members or the volunteer lawyers in your community. My second initiative was educating the lawyers about the importance of their well-being and the life-saving services available through the Texas Lawyers Assistance Program. My Texas Bar Journal column on securing your own oxygen mask first inspired dozens of lawyers to write and thank me for speaking up about burnout and vicarious trauma and how those issues have affected their own lives and their practices. And our lawyers heeded our call to watch our free CLE webcast titled, Just Ask, How We Must Stop Minding Our Own Business in the Legal World. It was produced in partnership with the Texas Lawyers Assistance Program, Texas Bar CLE, and it focuses on suicide and depression prevention. I'm proud to say that through these efforts, we reached approximately 25,000 lawyers through this one video program alone. My third presidential initiative focus was demystifying the attorney grievance process and explaining the important work done through our discipline system, which is part of our regulatory function as a mandatory bar. As part of these efforts, we produced yet another free CLE. It was called What Every Lawyer Should Know About the Attorney Grievance System. This video also featured my friend and law school colleague, Scott Rothenberg, and Shauna Willing, our Chief Disciplinary Counsel. I'm proud to say that this webcast has been viewed by approximately 15,000 of our attorneys. As a point of personal privilege, I want to thank my husband, Bill Ogden, a well-respected lawyer who is now enjoying his much-earned retirement, for his tremendous support and advice that he has provided me. Bill delights in referring to himself as Mr. Laura Gibson or the first dude. I understand that Cindy has asked him to stay on in that capacity as first dude. Bill, thank you for going on this journey with me. Thank you for skipping our vacation last year so that we could balance my work obligations with my bar service. And thank you for your help with my June President's Page. Many of you have commented on what a great page that was, and especially the catchy title, Should the Bar, Bar, Bar? Bill gets credit for that title and for much of the content of that column. So being married to one of the most preeminent First Amendment attorneys in the state of Texas came out to be a huge benefit not only for me, but to our bar and to our profession. Thank you, Bill. I also want to thank our family, including our 4 kids, their spouses, and our 10 grandchildren who weren't able to enjoy as much beach time as they wanted to with their yaya and their papa. But don't worry, we plan to remedy that this summer. Finally, I want to recognize my father, David Gibson, who passed away in 1990 as a 56-year-old. He never got to have the privilege of being a 50-year lawyer, and I know he would have been proud to achieve that. All of this have arrived at our chosen profession for different reasons. For me, it was the inspiration of my father, David Gibson. He was triple board certified in family law, criminal law, and civil trial law, passing each of those exams the first time it was offered and on his first try. Even though I never worked for my dad as a lawyer, he taught me that as a lawyer, my word is my bond. He made me understand that a lawyer wants her opposing counsel to be as qualified as possible. He emphasized that our jobs as lawyers is to make sure that justice is served, not winning at all costs. He stressed that we have a duty to present the facts in the best light to our client. We don't make the facts, nor should we try to. Again, it was truly my honor to serve in this capacity and to be the 8th woman president to hold this role. Thank you for this opportunity. Now it's my privilege to introduce our new president of the State Bar of Texas. Cindy Tisdale practices family law in Granbury and Fort Worth, that's a big distance apart, at the offices of Goranson, Bain, Osley, where she helps clients navigate a difficult time in their life with tenacity, respect, and compassion. Cindy is certified in family law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization and is one of the few family lawyers who is a member of the American Board of Trial Advocates, an invitation-only national association of experienced trial lawyers and judges. She's also a fellow of both the International Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers and the American Association of Matrimonial Lawyers. Cindy has served as chair of the family law section, one of our biggest and hardest working sections of the State Bar of Texas. She served as chair of the State Bar of Texas Board of Directors, chair of the Texas Bar Foundation, and she enjoys giving back to her profession through her volunteerism and through writing and presenting numerous articles on family law. Outside of her family law practice, she is the proud mother of 2 adult children whom we saw today. Her son Andrew, who is getting ready to finish law school and take the July bar exam, and her daughter Anna, who is graduating from the nursing program at TCU in December. I know Cindy appreciates having them off the payroll as she's going to be spending so much time serving our members. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our newest president of the State Bar of Texas, Cindy Tisdale.
Before I swear in the wonderful Cindy Tisdale, I want to thank so much Laura Gibson for her dedication, her hard work. For those of you who know her, and I've had the privilege of knowing her for several decades now, she's very, very hardworking. She's very, very intelligent, and she's very, very nice. And those 3 things are very, very important. And the amount of time that she has dedicated to our wellness program that she just talked about is really amazing. So please let's join together one more time to thank Laura for her dedicated service. And now I get to swear in our new president. I've had the opportunity of knowing Cindy even longer than I've known Laura. She has always been as bright and beautiful and cheerful as you see her today. Yes, in fact, the person that she follows the most is Ted Lasso. She's going to, one of her big initiatives this year is on artificial intelligence. And it's such an important thing for us to look into because it's going to affect all of our lives. She's brilliant, she's hardworking, and this is something that many of you know. When she was chair of the family law section of the State Bar of Texas, which is a huge responsibility, she was also chair of the Texas Bar Foundation at the same time. We're talking about somebody who has unbelievable amount of energy, charm, and yes, she too is very, very nice. So it is my distinct privilege now to swear in the wonderful Cindy Tisdale. I, Cindy Tisdale,
I, Cindy Tisdale,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of President
the duties of the office of President
of the State Bar of
of the
Texas,
State Bar of Texas,
and will to the very best of my ability
and will to the very best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States and of Texas,
of the United States and of Texas.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you so much. I appreciate those. I really do. Thank you. How do I follow up that introduction? I should just sit down now while I'm ahead, right? Wow, thank you so much. I'm a little overwhelmed, and I'll be honest with you, I'm overwhelmed, and that doesn't happen often. From seeing my kids up here, that's overwhelming, as you can imagine. But let me just start right in. I know we have a program, and I'm looking forward to it. You're going to love him. I've heard him speak, and you're going to love it. So I am so proud to be the 143rd president of the State Bar of Texas and the 9th woman and the 3rd woman in a row. Yes, I am so proud. I look forward to serving, but I also would be remiss. I need to thank Laura Gibson and Sylvia Brunda Firth. I have huge stilettos to fill, you guys. They have gone before me. They have served with such grace and such intelligence, and I hope to do just as well. So thank you. I also want to acknowledge the State Bar President-elect, Steve Benish. He's going to be coming in behind he's going to have huge stilettos to fill also. But he's our president-elect, and Kenan Wooten, our new chair of the board. Yes. I am so excited about our team because that's what we are. We're a team. And I have no doubt that we're going to do great things this next year. So I'm going to get into I call them goals, not initiatives, but I'm going to listen to talk about my goals in 1 second. But honestly, I'd be remiss. And point of privilege, I want to thank just a few people. First and foremost, my family who's at this table. You saw my daughter Anna Tisdale and my son Andrew Tisdale up here earlier. They're the light of my life. But when I thought about running for president or even being interviewed for president, I talked to both of them first. And, you know, their support and encouragement of, yeah, you need to do this. I mean, what's the question, Mom? But their support and encouragement all along the way has been my rock. My dad is here and my stepmom, their support and encouragement my entire life. My cousin Melody and her husband Alan, she's like a sister, always has been. My friends who are sitting over here that are my rock and my sounding board, we all need one of those, right? So thank you. To my Gornson Bain Osley family. You know, they took me on knowing I was in this role without hesitation. They are supporting and encouraging me, even though, guess what, guys? This job takes a little bit of time away from your billable hours. I know that's a surprise, but the support and encouragement I've received from my Gornson Bain Osley family has been tremendous. To my family law section family. And each one of these is my family. Gosh, you guys are awesome, amazing. They're not colleagues, they're friends, and they're lifelong friends, and your support and encouragement is why I'm standing here today, period. And last but not least, my State Bar family. Everyone at the State Bar has just been so encouraging. They make me look good. Thank you so much for doing that for me. But those are all my families that I want to thank for your support and encouragement. So now let's get into, very briefly, Okay, every time a lawyer says very briefly, you're in for a ride, right? I should know better. But, I ran for the State Bar of Texas for president because honestly, I wanted to help lawyers. I love being a lawyer. I don't know about you. I love my profession. I love what I do. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some days that I question my decisions, but I love being a lawyer. And if I can help other lawyers in their practice so they in turn can help their clients, that's what I want to do. That's why I'm here. So let me get into just a few of my goals. Again, I said earlier, I call them goals, not initiatives. Initiatives are, this is what I'm doing, right? I call them goals because, as we all know, I have plans, and God could have other plans. Look at the pandemic. Look at everything else that has happened, right? So I have goals. So let me go through a few things of those. This one, honestly, it sounds like a small thing. I think it's huge. And I have to thank Barrett Thomas, if he's here, for putting this idea in my head. So, especially as State Bar president, my calendar is kind of crazy. Especially, if you're opposing counsel out there, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen for a while. But to put your vacation letter into every opposing counsel, every court, everything else, we have to find an easier way, right? So we're looking at having a vacation letter portal and something where you can upload your vacation letter in one spot. It's available to all courts. And guess what? It will make it easier for lawyers. That's my goal on that, making it easier. Now, I'm telling you right here and now, I cannot make every court in the state change their local rules. I apologize, I don't have that kind of power. Don't want that kind of power. But this is something that I think the judges I've talked to are excited about it. They're ready for it. Again, something that will help lawyers. Second, and Justice Lehrman, she alluded to it. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but Ted Lasso, who loves Ted Lasso? Everybody, right? If you've watched it. If you haven't, I wish I had $1 for every time I talked about Ted Lasso and someone went and subscribed to Apple Plus TV. I wouldn't be standing here. No, but, Ted Lasso came on during the pandemic. I was sad. I was frustrated like everybody else. But at the end of the show, I was laughing. I love that. And Advanced Family Law this past fall, I gave the first speech of what would Ted Lasso do? The professionalism speech, right? And so I kind of tied our Texas Lawyers Creed and Rules of Professional Conduct to what I call a Lassoism, right? And we can all learn from Ted Lasso. So my theme for this year is every choice is a chance. Every choice I make on behalf of the State Bar of Texas and the 112,000 lawyers of this state is a chance for me to do the right thing. It's a chance for me to do something that helps these lawyers. It's a chance for me to help the lawyers to help their clients and protect the public. So every choice I make is going to be a chance to do the right thing. I don't know about you. I've been practicing 28 years. You 50-year lawyers, I'm halfway there. I'm going to get there. I've been practicing 28 years. When I first started practicing law, you would go to court with my family law friends here, and you would go to court, you'd zealously advocate for your client, and then you'd go out and you would commiserate about your clients, right? Something has switched. Something has changed to where you go and you zealously advocate for your client, and then you go complain about the opposing counsel. We've lost a little bit of collegiality, in my opinion, and we need to get that back. So let's see, be a goldfish, every choice is a chance, what else could I say? But we're gonna bring some Ted Lasso into our lives this year, and so I hope you're happy about that. Third, lawyer wellness. We all know about TLAP. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you all about TLAP, you know about it. But Laura kind of touched on it a little bit, of vicarious trauma. You know, as a lawyer, we take on our clients' trauma. We take on their problems. We take on everything through our clients. I had, about 3 months ago, I had a client that I had helped in a modification that we finished last fall. And he called me and said, well, Cindy, I think my current wife is about to file for a divorce. I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. You know, you owe just a little bit of money from last time, not much. You owe that, pay that. Let's get you on the books for next week, and I'll talk to you about it. The next call I received, he thought it was a good idea. Instead of doing that, he got a gun and killed his wife and killed himself in front of their children. You get that call, and it's not the first time it's happened to me, and doing family law, it's not going to be the last, I hate to say. But I shut down. I just left the office. I don't even know if I told anybody I was leaving. And I know in my heart that was not my fault. I know that. But as a human being, you sit there and you go through, what could I have said differently? What could I have done differently to make him change his mind or change that route? I don't know if there's anything I could have done. And luckily, as you've heard from me talk about all of my friends and my family and my colleagues, I have a great support system. But some people don't. And TLAP is wonderful. They have, for depression, for suicide, for addiction problems. They deal with vicarious trauma like we do. But I want to set up a program where we can reach lawyers before they maybe need that step of TLAP. So the bar is looking into, there's a wellness app we're looking at, and also being able to provide counseling at discounted cost for our attorneys. Because when I went through that about 3 months ago, I never thought about calling TLAP for that, right? I was just kind of going through in my own head some things. But there are attorneys that don't have the support system, might need to reach out, and would never think about TLAP. But if the bar can offer those services for discounted rates, we would love to do that and help with that vicarious trauma that we all go through no matter what we do. So, there's my 3 goals, right? Justice Lehrman mentioned artificial intelligence. I am smart enough to know I don't know anything. I know how to spell AI, that's about it. So we have already put together a work group. The board of directors for the state bar has already approved that, and they're gonna get to work. Their purpose statement is very broad. How does AI impact our profession, the judiciary, and what are gonna be the ethics behind it? I don't know the answers to that question, but I can tell you your state bar, we're looking into it. We're going to be tackling this head on. Other states are already looking at it. We're not going to lag behind. We're right up there with them. So with all that being said, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you to my big support group all throughout here that I love you all to death. I look forward to working with the attorneys of the state and with the board for this next year. If you have any comments, suggestions, I know this might seem crazy to some that I'm doing this. Email me, contact me. I'm very easy to find because I'm here to help you, and so I can't help you if I don't hear from you. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. It's going to be a great one. Thank you.
Thank you, President Tisdale. We are just so excited about what next year brings for you and for all of us as a result. I can't believe that I get to do this next. I get to introduce our keynote speaker for this afternoon, and I'm so excited about it. I might have had to fight Randy Howery for that, but I guess I won somehow. I don't know, but as I said, I might be short, but I'm scrappy, so I won that fight. And I have the pleasure of introducing Chet Garner, the creator, host, and executive producer of the Daytripper, a third-time Emmy Award-winning Texas travel show airing on PBS stations across the country. He was born in Comanche and raised in Port Neches, Texas. Chet's love for storytelling began at a young age around the Boy Scout campfire and toting around his grandfather's VHS video camera. VHS. Chet earned a degree in radio, television, film from the University of Texas at Austin. So did my dad. We'll have to talk about that. And they went on to graduate from first in his class from Baylor Law School. However, after practicing law for 3 years, he decided to follow his passion and simultaneously inspire folks to appreciate the beauty, history, and food of the Lone Star State. What followed was a crash course in travel, filmmaking, marketing, and doing whatever it takes to start a successful TV show. And when not traveling, Chet is at home in Georgetown, Texas, with his wife and 5 children, 14, 12, 9, 7, and 3. Not busy. And although he's usually got them on the road with him too, so it's a family business. Would you all please help me welcome Chet Garner to the stage?
Thank you all. Thank you so much. We live on the mic? Yeah, we are. Here we go. How's everybody doing? This is wild. Speaking to a room full of attorneys. When I was practicing, they didn't even let me talk at the Luncheon Learns. And so this is great. So my name is Chet Garner. I make a Texas travel show called the Daytripper. Show of hands, who's actually seen the show? All right. So for the rest of y'all, this will be an education. For y'all, for those who've seen the show, you might hear some familiar stories. But my job is to go around the state of Texas and to share our wonderful culture, our history, our food, our outdoors with anybody and everybody who will listen to me talk. And so it's a 30-minute travel show, showing people all they could eat, see, and do if they were in, pull a name out of a hat, that town, right? I don't care if they've got 5,000 stoplights or no stoplights, I can find stuff to do in the town because every corner of Texas is full of something. And you guys are from a lot of these communities that I go and travel to, and so it's my gig to tell the stories of the communities. But Texas is so big, so diverse. Before I get too deep into the topic for today, I would like to sort of poll the audience so that I can get to know y'all a little better. I know we're attorneys, but you know, there's a lot of diversity in attorneys, and so we're gonna show y'all 2 pictures, or I am. If you prefer the one on the left, point left. If you prefer the one on the right, point right. And in my highly mathematical brain, I will count you, and then I can appropriately adjust my speech on the fly. All right, left or right? We big city folks or we country folks? Everybody must vote, or else my math doesn't work. All right, okay, all right, pretty good. All right, you're gonna go on vacation. Are we going to the beach or are we going to the mountains? Everybody point for me. We're pretty split on that one. These pictures are both from Texas, by the way. All right, they get harder as we go. More important, you get 1 meal before you die. What are you eating, barbecue or Texas? We got some guys in the back going, no, don't make me pick. All right, what's your road trip playlist? Are we more Willie or are we Queen Bee? Queen Bee is from Houston, right? We can't forget, she's ours. All right, okay, very good. Now I really want to start some fights. Anybody? Let's go. What? Oh, wait, sorry, wrong slide. That's the right slide. There's only one correct choice. Yeah. I mean, we're so eager to beat y'all up. We're leaving the Big 12 to come and beat y'all up in the SEC. That's how much we enjoy it. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So let's get a little deeper into what I'm here to talk about. And I was told y'all been at a conference talking about a lot of boring stuff like administrative law and changes from the session. So I'm not going to talk about any of that. Good? Is that good with y'all? Okay. But what I do want to talk about is Texas, because that's what I love. But I want to give y'all a little bit of context on my backstory, how I got to do what I do, so y'all can understand a little bit more about where I'm coming from. I'm a Texan, born and raised, born in Comanche, Texas. Y'all, anybody know where that is? Comanche County? All right, most don't, so I got to put a star on the map. That's where it is. I remember vividly, I did kindergarten in Comanche, and my dad was a physician, and so there came a point where he set me and my 3 siblings down, and he said, kids, I have to take a job transfer, but I'd like y'all's input into where we move. So I'm going to ask y'all a question, and y'all vote, and that'll help us make a decision. Do y'all want to move to the mountains, or would y'all like to move to the beach? Sort of the question I just asked y'all. And we were little kids. We said, the beach, the beach, the beach. And he said, all right. And he moved us to Port Arthur, Texas. Why are y'all laughing? I don't know. He must have read some sort of fake brochure. But the beach down there, I mean, it was all swamps and alligators, but that was my childhood. I mean, that's the part of Texas that doesn't know if it is Texas or Louisiana. The marsh doesn't define a very good line. But that's where I was raised up through high school. And I remember as a kid, my dad taking us on road trips all the time to go back and visit our family who lived in the Comanche, Stephenville, Hamilton type of area of Texas. And so we would load up the family Suburban and go on these road trips. And so as a child, this is sort of where my love for the open road came about. But this is how we traveled, and y'all can probably identify with this. We were a big family, 6 of us, and the only way to get that many people, plus the luggage and the Christmas gifts, into the family Suburban was you just rip out the back seat, put the luggage in, and then put a mattress on top of it, right? Did y'all travel by mattress as children? It's before we cared about the health and safety of children as a society. But it never failed that I'd be in some state of consciousness, you know, napping, fighting with my siblings, whatever, you know, staring out my 2 inches of window that I had before you know, if you turn this way, you'd get asphyxiated by the sagging headliner. And so I'd look out the window, and it never failed. All of a sudden, I'm cruising, you know, I'm just in my own world, and we go from the back of the Suburban to the front of the Suburban as my dad whips around to pull us all out to look at what I called as a little kid, tombstones of death. These things. There's nothing worse for a childhood than Texas historic markers. They're about dead people, dead places, and you got to listen to the old guys try to make them interesting and recap why you're staring at the most important fence post ever in Texas history, right? And so we did this a lot. I mean, this was childhood. And if y'all have any pull, y'all know at the TxDOT or whoever does that, those brown signs that say historic marker that way, they don't say how far that way. And so we would travel down, you know, 15, 20 miles down country roads to, you know, stare at some spot that Davy Crockett peed on his way to the Alamo or whatever. I don't know. And so we did this a lot. And, but, you know, road trips, historic markers, y'all can kind of see the young things that were stirring around in little Chet's head. But, you know, I will proudly say these things make an impression on kids. And so I am now the parent who hauls all my kids out to read historic markers by the highway, right? Or can we all do that for our kids? That's the punishment must pass through the generations, but it's important. So, grew up, we were a scouting family, we were a traveling family, and so I got to see a lot of Texas as a kid, of which I'm very thankful. I didn't leave Texas when it came time for college. I went to the University of Texas, as I previously established, so went to Austin, majored in radio, television, and film because I had a deep love for storytelling. Then I did what all RTF majors do, and I decided to go to law school, common path, and went to Baylor Law School. Sick and Bears? Professor Featherston somewhere in the audience. There he is. Hey, I heard your name. Good to see you. And so did pretty well in law school. But, you know, it was this time in school when I kind of became that naive 20-something-year-old who thought, man, been there, done that. I've seen all of Texas. I'm going to go out and travel the world. You know, in college and law school, you do get pretty big breaks where you can go out and sort of vacation. And so I decided I'm going to go and see all these places, quote unquote, you've got to see before you die. Y'all probably have been to some of these places. St. Mark's Square, that's some national parks in California. This is Turkey, and this is Thailand, where for a couple bucks you can spoon some chimpanzees for a few minutes. So, but wonderful experiences that I had going and seeing places exotic. I loved every minute of it. Even though I travel Texas, I'm a big advocate for international travel. You know, the great pundit Matt Damon once said that we could solve a lot of the world's problems if we just had thicker passports, which is totally true, but I think it's actually even simpler than that. So I travel the world, get to see lots of cool stuff. And then that thing happens that happens when you graduate from law school, and you got to go and get the JOB. And so I went from seeing this to this was the view from my law office window. I'm just kidding. I went to work for Fulbright Jaworski. They give the young attorneys pretty good views. But I had this picture window of the Capitol, but it was just almost like a painting. It was something I could see but not quite touch. And so I thought, man, I've got this deep desire to travel. I love traveling. But when you're on the bottom of a totem pole of an international law firm, you don't get a lot of time to go out and see the world, right? And so I was like, man, I don't have time to go on these big vacations, so I'm going to just start exploring my own backyard, things that I hadn't seen since I was a young child. And so I went to places like this. Anybody recognize that? Surely y'all do. Y'all are Texans. Where's this? Enchanted Rock, right? And so I hadn't seen Enchanted Rock since I was like 4 years old. And I'm sitting there as a 20-something going, man, this is amazing. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's like God took a big granite basketball, chopped it in half, and plopped it in the hill country. It's fantastic. I started exploring our coastline. It turns out we got some pretty nice beaches that don't require, a can of paint thinner to get the tar off your feet when you leave, like the ones in my hometown did. This is me after seeing some of our show caves in Texas. I'm covered in what I thought was mud. But turns out it was bat guano. The guides didn't say that until after the tour was over. They're like, but don't worry, it's 10,000 years old. It's fine. It's sterile by now, we think. Like, okay. And this is me bonding with some of our local wildlife, right? And so I get these light bulbs going off in my head. I would go back to the law firm and I would tell them about these little adventures I had, and I found that most attorneys love a good adventure. They love a good vacation, but they were traveling, the partners and stuff, differently than I. They weren't going an hour from their backyard and just drinking beer with some Germans at the German beer hall. They were taking big vacations. And so when I told them about these places that were literally an hour from their back door, I realized that there was a gap in information. And then I would go on, try to find out all the wonderful things in my own backyard. And again, a gap in information. And I thought, gosh, if no one else is going to champion all these wonderful small towns we have, then I guess that's my job. And so I started this little show called the Daytripper. When the concept came about, I was a first-year attorney practicing. Went out and shot a pilot in a town that I thought, hey, everyone hates this town. If I can convince them to like it, maybe I'll have a show. The town was Waco. Yeah. I was a little before Chip and Joe. I think I was just proof of concept for them, I'm pretty sure. But I loved Waco. But I realized Waco was the dog of I-35, and I thought if I can convince Austinites to want to go to Waco, I can convince them to want to go anywhere in the world, right? And so we loaded up my SUV at the time, took a road trip, and after a year and a half of trying to sell a show that didn't exist, eventually we had a television show on TV. And this is the trailer, or the intro rather, for season 1 of our show, just to give you all an idea about what we are and what we do.
Texas. 850 miles from Orange to El Paso, 900 miles from Brownsville to Texline, and thousands upon thousands of highways and dirt roads in the middle. Exploring Texas ain't no small vacation, friend. It's a lifetime endeavor. But what if you don't have years, but just one single day? Well, that's where we come in. From the well-known landmarks to the completely obscure dives and hideaways, and all within a day's reach. So let's hit the road. I'm Chet Garner, and this is the Daytripper.
All right, so y'all might have seen that. That was, I think, seasons 1 and 2, and then we scrapped it. But it gives you an idea. We're all about taking Texas, breaking it up into chunks, and making it actionable for people. I know a lot of people in this room are from very different parts of Texas. Some of y'all are from towns with maybe one stoplight. Oh, and some of y'all are from the biggest cities in the country, in the world even. But I think there is the thing that shares us all, or unites us all rather, is our deep, deep love for the state and the communities that we live in. And so I take it, people even outside of Texas love Texas, so we air all across the country now, which is pretty cool. But I've been teaching people about Texas for a long time, and now it's time to see what y'all actually know about Texas, all right? It's the Daytripper Quiz Show. Dun-dun-dun. Everybody stand up. Stand up. For real. This is the way I keep you all awake after that steak. The steak was good, huh? Round of applause for the staff here. That was awesome. All right, so here's how this works. I need everybody to stand up who wants to play. And, y'all, we're playing for your very own Daytripper branded Yeti mug. Ooh, and hat. Ah. All right, so I'm going to throw a question up on the board. Don't say the answer immediately. I will count to 3, at which point we will all say it out loud at once. All right? The reason for that is twofold. This is the honor system, and I'm in a room full of attorneys, and if attorneys are anything, it's honorable, right? Right? And number 2 is, we'll know if you got it right, and then number 2, we'll laugh at you if you got it wrong. So it's pretty fun. All right, they start easy, they get harder. All right, don't say it out loud until I count to 3, but what is the official flower of Texas? Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's the bluebonnet. All right, sit down if you got it wrong. Thank you. Yes, very good. Oh, and someone did? Oh, hey, you can stand back up. That wasn't even a real question. That was just a test question. But sorry. But if you got it wrong, you have no hope, honestly, in the rest of this. So, no, sorry to call her out. All right, here we go. Don't say it until I count to 3. What is the official bird of the state of Texas? Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's the mockingbird. Very good. All right, sit down if you got it wrong. They didn't take Texas history in 7th grade. This is how it works, see? At the end, there were a lot of people like, I didn't get that wrong. And like other people sat down like, okay, I got it wrong. That's funny. Okay, still going. Not till I count to 3. What is the official tree of the state of Texas? Ready? 1, 2, 3. The pecan tree. Very good. Oh, no. Sit down if you got it wrong. All right. So here we go. We're thinning the crowd. So if you're still standing up, I need you to take your right hand, raise it up, show me your hand. All right, now give yourself a big pat on the back because you've made it to round 2, which isn't for a few slides, so now y'all can sit down. All right, but when I call for round 2, you got to stand back up. All right, sit down, everybody. Round 2's not for a while. I told you, my job's to keep y'all awake, so it's a lot of exercise. All right, so here's one of my absolute favorite quotes that inspires me all the time. It says this: thanks to the interstate highway system, it is now possible to travel across the country from coast to coast without seeing anything. Who knows that to be true? Anybody know who said it? Charles Kuralt, who was very much a pioneer in what I'm doing on CBS. And it's true. The heart and soul of Texas is not on the highways. You'll see a lot of Whataburgers and now Buc-ee's and things like that. And I love Buc-ee's as much as the next guy. But if you want to get into the true identity of a town, you got to take that business exit and go through the small towns. And I truly believe this, that every town has a story to tell. Every single town. And I don't care how big, how small you are. If you're one of those, blink once and you miss it sort of towns, that's okay too. Because storytelling is important. And every town has a story to tell. And I believe something very deeply about storytellers. We'll get to that in just a second. But, when we think about storytellers, a lot of people have this idea that storytelling is something that only happens next to a campfire, some old troubadour with the guitar, or maybe it's a grandpa that pulls you up on its knee. But I think, and then if we think of, the great storytellers of generations, we picture guys like this: Hitchcock, Twain, Roosevelt. But there's something deeper, I think, with regard to storytelling, and it's this. This is even more true. We're all storytellers. Some of us just don't know it. And so I want to start the rest of my speech with this point right here. Everybody in this room is a storyteller. And as attorneys, that's probably maybe a little bit obvious for a lot of what y'all do. But maybe you're telling stories that you don't even know you're telling. See, we tell stories all day, every day. At this conference, chances are someone's asked you, hey, where are you from? And you got to tell them a story about where you're from. Your family, your spouse, someone asked, where are you going in Austin? And you had an opportunity to tell them a story about where you're going. Now, that story could have gone a couple ways. One, I got to go to this lame conference in Austin, but the company's paying for it, so maybe I'll get a good meal out of it or whatever. And then, okay, that told that person a story that you're not that excited about coming. Or maybe you told them something different. It's like, oh man, I get to go to the annual conference. I'm going to see a lot of like-minded attorneys. We're going to share ideas, talk about raising the bar for our profession, all that, it's going to be amazing, the sort of networking we get to do. I love this conference. Well, that told them a very different story, right? The story that you're excited about where you're going. That you're optimistic, you're gonna make connections, and that sort of set your mind, because the stories we tell ourselves are just as important sometimes as the stories we tell other people. And I'll share a personal example about storytelling, and this is true for me. The kids, when I was young, my kids are still little, but when the bigger ones were younger, I would leave for a couple days to go film an episode or something, and they would ask, Dad, where are you going? Why are you leaving? Because, little kids want their dad to stay home and play with them all day. And I would say, well, someone's got to make money for this family. You kids are expensive, something like that. It's typical dad stuff, right? A joke, but I don't think the kids took it as a joke. And you think about the story that tells them, what's it tell them? It tells them, I leave y'all to make money, and money's the most important thing. And that's, I love y'all, but I must love money more because I'm leaving. And so I thought, man, what a terrible sort of thing to set them up for about the value of work. And so I started to flip the script even in my own life and thought, man, I got to tell them a different story about where I'm going, because while that may be a joke, it's not true. And so now I tell my kids this. I started to tell them that. And so this is personal. I would say, listen, I hate to leave you, but, the Lord has gifted me with certain gifts, and it's my job to go out and give them to the world and return it back over to serve other people. And someday you're going to have an opportunity to use your gifts and talents to serve other people too. And like, whoa. So what's that teach them? Work is a gift. Their talents are important. They're going to have an opportunity to serve other people. So these are all sort of the importance of the stories that we tell everybody around us. Okay? And I believe this, that as attorneys, we often are looked up to, and we carry the mantle of storytelling, not just to the people we talk to every day, or we telling them, the sort of stories that bring joy and enlightenment and honesty and truth, but also, the kind of stories that carry that mantle of storytelling, right? In our communities. You want to go and talk to the old judge. That old judge has stories. You want to go talk to the people who know the history, who serve on their historic commissions. Attorneys are often gifted with a very unique position to be influencers and to carry the stories of the communities we serve. And so for the next bit, I want to teach y'all about some of the greatest stories I've found all the way across Texas. Did y'all know that Texas is the steward of the oldest story in North America? Anybody? Anybody recognize this? This is the Cave of the White Shaman. It's often regarded as the oldest book in North America. Now, this is way out in the middle of nowhere, Comstock and Langtree. Anybody seen it? All right, if you study rock art in the world, you go to one of two places. You go to a cave in France, or you go to this cave in Comstock, Texas. What does this book say? We have no idea, but it must be pretty good because we've been staring at it for about 6,000 years. And so storytelling is a tradition in Texas that goes way, way back. Now, every episode of the Daytripper, I focus on 3 different areas: culture, outdoors, and food. And so I want to give you all some of the best stories I've found all across the state. And more than that, I want to inspire you guys to think about the stories of your own communities, of your own history, of your own culture, and the ways y'all can steward those stories to the people that come after you, right? So culture of Texas. Well, we all know Texas got a pretty cool culture. We got all kinds of art museums, our wine culture. We're now second in wine tourism in the entire country, behind California. So we have all these wonderful things to go and do. A lot of people, when they think of the culture of Texas, they think simply of John Wayne and the Alamo, which is true. But if you dig deeper, many of y'all probably know this, but the Alamo is one of 5 missions that got built in San Antonio, including this one, which is the largest mission in North America. It's now an UNESCO World Heritage Site, putting it up there with, the Taj Mahal, Angkor Wat, Machu Picchu, those kind of things. Who's seen Mission San Jose? Okay, maybe about a third of y'all. It's fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful. You get down there and you feel like you're transported to the 1700s. It's amazing. And then we have all these other Spanish artifacts that are scattered throughout Texas. Anybody recognize this one? Goliad, very good. This is Presidio La Bahia, which is where the Goliad massacre occurred. See, when we won our independence on the battlefield at San Jacinto, we were chanting, "Remember the Alamo." But maybe even louder, Texans were chanting, "Remember Goliad." You see, we had lost about 180 people at the Alamo. 344 Texian soldiers were massacred at Goliad. So that's quite a significant difference. We're given no chance. We're just marched outside the walls or inside the walls of this chapel and massacred that led up to San Jacinto. Now, a very dark place to visit, very heavy. And for a very small fee, you can now spend the night there by yourself. Anybody? Who would do it? Have you done it? He's done it twice. You're as messed up as I am. Very good. For real, they give you the keys and they walk away. You have the whole Presidio to Rome in the middle of the night by yourself. All right? We spent the night there, had a wonderful experience, one of the best nights' sleep of my life. Here's another fort I tried to spend the night at, and I spent the whole night there. Did I get any sleep? No, because that place is horribly haunted. This is Fort Concho in San Angelo, and I don't have time for that story, but it sounded like rabid raccoons were throwing dishes in the kitchen, and I was about to go and check, and then I realized, wait, no, that's how everybody gets murdered in the horror movies. So I just sat on my bed and stared at the ceiling, praying that they didn't come in the room. At one point, I locked the door and thinking, oh, good, I'm safe now. And then I thought, wait, no, ghosts can go through the doors. Oh, no. I was at this, critical moment. I didn't know whether to leave it unlocked or locked. So it was terrifying. Speaking of crazy attorneys, anybody recognize this guy? Judge Roy Bean. Speaking of crazy attorneys, I wasn't talking about crazy attorneys. Maybe just me. But the stories of the way that attorneys have affected the culture of Texas is absolutely incredible. This is one of, I don't know if we call him one of our finest examples, but certainly one of our most colorful examples. So Judge Roy Bean was a justice of the peace that called himself the law west of the Pecos. He moved out in the late 1800s when they were building the railroads, and he set up a saloon called the Jersey Lily. To this day, you can still go and walk around the Jersey Lily. Judge Roy Bean was a Texas character if there ever was one. If the rules required that he hold a jury trial, he would walk into a saloon, grab anybody that was drinking that day, and pull him into the jury for service. It's true. He was kind of on the run from the law, which is how he found himself out west. He had a pet bear. And one great thing that he did is, notorious thing that he did, he actually held a heavyweight championship prize fight west. Now, gambling was illegal in Texas, but it was also illegal in Mexico, and Judge Roy Bean needed to make money on it. So what he did is he took the ring, went down into the valley of the Rio Grande, because he knew Rangers didn't have jurisdiction down there, and the Mexican government definitely wasn't going to trek through the desert to stop him. And so he held this prize-winning fight. Hundreds of people came from all over the world and watched this fight. Now, Judge Roy Bean also conveniently made sure that there was a weather delay so that he could keep people in his saloon drinking beer until the fight. But if you love law history, go out to Langtree and educate yourself on Judge Roy Bean. Here's some of my favorite courthouses I've found all across Texas. So anybody from Scurry County? Oh, we got one. All right. Okay. Scurry County Courthouse. This is what it looked like originally. And the citizens found it outdated and old, and they wanted to update the Scurry County Courthouse. Now, they didn't have enough money to do it, And so they thought, well, we can't tear it down and rebuild it. So what they did instead was just chop off the cupola and put a giant granite box on top of it. Has anybody ever gone to Scurry County and argued anything? Yeah, it's the ugliest courthouse in Texas, without a doubt. It has no windows, and I went up and talked to the judge about what it's like working in a windowless box, and he's like, oh, come and look. And so he showed me the gap between the old courthouse and the granite that's around the outside. They think about tearing it down, but they can't because it is now protected as one of the foremost examples of brutalism architecture in the country. So they're kind of stuck with it. They have tourists come in all the time and ask, oh, wow, who's buried there? And they'll tell them Davy Crockett. I'm like, oh, wow, cool. Oh, man, this one's good. I'm going to have to skip it for time. But if you're ever in Hopkins County, make sure you use the outdoor restrooms. They're with totally see-through glass. Those are on their courthouse. And then here's one of my favorite stories of the courthouses. This is Ellis County, which is Waxahachie, Texas. So Ellis County Courthouse is famous because of the architecture of the stonework that's around the outside. So, and it is the attorneys and judges who help carry these traditions on. Now, if you look at it, it's beautiful, Romanesque Revival style courthouse. And as you walk around, you'll notice these very ornate carvings. Well, it has a legend that goes with it. It says that when they were building this courthouse in the late 1800s, they didn't have the labor locally to do the skilled carvings that they needed, so they hired a stonemason to come in from out of town. Well, he gets to Waxahachie, and wouldn't you know it, he falls in love with a local girl. And she is so beautiful, he begins to carve her fair face into the facade of the courthouse. Ah, isn't she gorgeous? Beautiful, stunning. Well, he gets about halfway through with the carvings, and wouldn't you know it, she dumps him. And with about with a few more of her faces left to carve, well, his opinion of her goes from angelic to, we'll just say, a little more demonic as he carves her into the facade of the courthouse. You can go and you can walk and get a timeline of their relationship. It's carved in stone. It's the old way, like it's the old version of being captured in a Taylor Swift song lyrics. It's like that's how they used to do it. Is it true? And I say, of course it's true. Why? Because a Texan told me, and Texans never lie. It's just part of it. All right, if you're still in it, stand up if you're in round number 2. All right. I'm going to have to truck through some of this last stuff. I wish I had longer to talk. All right, ready? On the count of 3, how many presidents have been born in Texas? U.S. presidents. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. It's 2, correct. All right, sit down if you got it wrong. Eisenhower and LBJ. Our justices are hanging in there. I love it. I love it. All right. Okay. What is the official song of the state of Texas? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Sing it. Texas, our Texas, all hail the mighty state. Oh, I cursed y'all. I'm sorry. That was bad luck. Good job, y'all. All right, I think I got one more here too. All right, if you're still in it, you're in the running. Ready? What is the official sport of the state of Texas? 1, 2, 3. Rodeo. It's rodeo. Who's still in it? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5. Y'all give them a round of applause. That's impressive. Super impressive. All right, y'all can sit down now. We'll come back to y'all in just a sec. All right, let's talk about the outdoors. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to rush. I've been having too much fun with y'all. All right, so the outdoors, they say Texas is like a whole other country. The truth is, it's like 5 other countries. We have the longest undeveloped barrier island in the world. Did y'all know this? North Padre Island. You can drive for 60 miles past Corpus Christi and not see a soul, pretty much, on the waterfront. We have the second largest canyon, which is, of course, what? Palo Duro Canyon. That's the second largest in the United States. We have 2 national parks, Big Bend and this one, which is Guadalupe Mountains National Park. Now, few people know that we almost had a 3rd national park in Texas. In the 1970s, the federal government was ready. They were going to designate the 3rd national park in Texas. The only problem was it was in East Texas. And when they started knocking on doors and said, "Hi, we're the federal government. We would like to have your land," they said, "No, you're not." But so instead, the federal government had to create an entirely new category because they wanted to protect it, but they wanted to allow the people who live there to historically use the land like they always had, so hunting, fishing, and all that. So they created the Big Thicket National Preserve. First national preserve ever in the country, a place known as America's Ark. Y'all should go and see it. It's incredible. We have places where you can scuba dive at the bottom of an underground nuclear missile silo. Did y'all know this? Yep, right outside of Abilene. I told you I got a truck through this. And animals are Texan too, y'all. So this is a little story. I went to Rockport, Fulton. I took a birding tour. I found myself sitting on this boat, asked everybody around me, where y'all from? Ohio, Germany, Texas, China. They had all come to Rockport, Fulton to lay eyes on the largest bird in North America. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The whooping crane, right, very good. Whooping cranes are over 5 foot tall, 8-foot wingspan, just to give you an idea how big they are, there they are. They come to the Aransas Pass National Wildlife Refuge, and people go and see them. They're very predictable. There's less than 200 still alive that are repopulating. They spend their winters in northern Alberta, Canada, and their summers in northern Alberta, Canada. They spend their winters eating blue crabs in Texas. It's pretty amazing. All right, stand back up if you're still in it. If you're still in it. Here we go, here we go. If you're not, you have to stay in your seat of shame. Sorry. All right, what is it? Official large mammal. 1, 2, 3. The longhorn. Very good. All right, we're getting them down. Whoa, we're down to 2. 2? All right, here we go. Official reptile of Texas. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What do I guess? It's the horny toad. He said no. Did you know it? We got a winner! All right, I'll come see you after this. I got your stuff. Good job. Well done. This is cool. What's Texas home to the largest colony of what mammal? Bats. Mexican free-tailed bats. All right, so let's talk about everybody's favorite thing, food. Here's my Texas food pyramid. I tried to get it past this session. It didn't work. Wait till next session and we can try it again. If we're all together on this, we can do it. So I love food. Many people love food. But more than food, I love the stories behind the things we eat. See, Texans have been pretty inventive, and we've invented a lot of stuff. Probably comes as no surprise, we invented Tex-Mex. All right? But where did it come from? Because Tex-Mex ain't Mexican food, if you haven't noticed. Well, the credit goes to these women who worked these plazas in San Antonio known as the Chili Queens, all right? And so Tex-Mex really got invented in San Antonio, Texas. These women, and they were around long enough for us to get some photos, they would set up these beautiful plaza tables, white tablecloths, and they would stay out there from about dusk to 3 a.m. serving chili to anybody and everybody that came around. And they would serve the chili by itself. They would also serve it on top of things like noodles and rice and beans. Beans were not in the chili. They served the chili on top of beans, right? There's no beans in Texas chili. And so incredible stories. We didn't invent the steak. Can't take credit for that. But we did invent the Texified steak. This is the Big Texan Steak Ranch in Amarillo, where they are giving away free 72-ounce steak. Free. If you can eat it in an hour. But you also have to eat the shrimp cocktail, the baked potato, the salad, and the roll. And then it's yours. If it's not, I don't know what it was. When I went, it was $72. I bet it's double that now. Y'all want to know what the world record is for it? 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Held by a woman in her mid-30s. She is a professional eater, the mother of 4 kids, and she just went after that thing like a zombie eating brains. That video's online if you want to watch it. We have things that are only found in Texas as far as our country goes. Brownsville is home to the oldest authentic barbacoa restaurant in the country. Now, barbacoa is traditionally full cow head, all right? They cook it on a pit in the ground wrapped in foil. They're the only restaurant left in America doing it this way. Why? Because it's horribly against health code. But they're grandfathered in, so it's cool. I was down there with Mondo. We pulled out a full cow head, and he goes, "Oh, you're lucky, amigo. The ojo is still there." I said, he goes, "Have you ever had an ojo?" I said, "Oh, no, I have not." And so he plucked it out of the eye socket, put it on a tortilla with a little salsa. He goes, "Bottoms up, amigo." I was expecting it to like burst like a water balloon in my mouth, but it didn't. It was sort of just greasy, fatty. It was terrible. I don't recommend it, but evidently the people in Brownsville go crazy for it. And then as I wrap this up, there's something about food, but there's something also about the people. And I learned very early that the food stories are great, but the people stories are even better. They connect with the heart. And so I learned that when I went to this pizza joint in Wimberley. This is early on, as you can tell, I'm younger. But this pizza joint was unique. The pizza was great. But the cool thing about it is it had no employees. It was one family and their 13 kids who made the pizza. At the time, they were 17 down to 1 year old. No multiples in there. Bruce Colley is the man on the right. He was a mountain of a man. And if you ask nicely, he would take out the 2 Super Bowl rings he won playing offensive guard for Joe Montana and the 49ers. Incredible family. And, you know, another example of this is a little place out in Lexington, about an hour and a half from where we sit, called Snow's Barbecue. Anybody ever been to Snow's? So I was just there about a month or two ago. The line was 4 hours long. It's only open on Saturdays. The people in line, I bet 50% of them were from Texas. The other 50% were from anywhere on the globe. New Zealand, Deutschland, the Netherlands, Brazil, Colombia. And they had all come to Lexington, Texas, Snow's Barbecue, to eat the barbecue, sure, but more than that, to hug the queen of Texas barbecue, Miss Tootsie, who at 88 years old is still the pit boss at Snow's Barbecue. She's there every Saturday. You can go and give her a hug as well. She's she's a wonderful, true Texas legend. So famous now, Coca-Cola just gave her own drone show. So this was a light show in the sky that they put on for her. So here we go. What's the official dish? It's chili, correct? Cooking implement? Dutch oven. Fruit? Grapefruit. All right, here's the last point I want to leave y'all with. So what is it that makes Texas great? Well, it's hard to put a finger on. It's the people, it's the places, it's the food, but I boil it down to something even different. It's our authenticity. And I define it like this. What is authenticity? Well, I call it a reckless commitment toward being ourselves. You see, there's something that's drawing people from all over the country now to Texas, and it's something about being in a place that can stand on its own, that's authentic, that isn't looking for a playbook of how to do things, but it's literally writing the playbook of how it wants to do things. We are Texas. We've been Texas since the very beginning, and we've been forging our own path. And one of the greatest things about the people in this room is you are truly guiding our great state into the next generation. And so I want y'all to take that seriously. I want y'all to carry not just what it means to be Texas forward, but also continue to tell our stories and to carry our stories so that every generation that plants their feet on this great soil can know what it means to truly be a Texan. So thank y'all very much for the time to be here. It was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Chet, on behalf of the State Bar of Texas, thank you for your remarks. There's a little part of me, y'all, that wishes you were still practicing law and that we're denied the privilege of watching you in the courtrooms across the state of Texas. The smarter part of me, though, thanks you for the decision to take your gift and send it out into the world and return it to us and showing us parts of the state that we ought to go visit. So everybody tune in to PBS and watch the next episode. Thank you so much, Chet. And to all of you, I hope you enjoyed this luncheon, and I return you to enjoy the rest of the day as CLE that the sections work so hard together. Thank you again to the Family Law section for making today possible. And with that, Thank you for attending the 2023 State Bar of Texas Annual Meeting. The general session is now closed.